Hey everybody, my name is Wexilex, and today I'm going to show you how to make your very own companion cube. This guy here, and he's humongous. Not heavy, but he's huge. Here are the things you will need for your companion cube. Paper, I recommend cardstock. 1/2-inch EVA foam, I got about 3 packages. You're going to need felt pen, blade sharpener, and hobby knife, and a hot glue gun with lots of hot glue sticks. You're also going to need spray paint and painter's tape, overall making your budget about $50. First, you will need to print out the files that I will leave available in the description below. Then you will need to cut out the shapes in those patterns and trace them out onto the foam on the smooth side. The patterns will tell you how many of each shape you'll need to trace. I used about 3 packages of EVA foam to make the companion cube. Be sure to keep your trace shapes close together to use as much foam on one sheet as possible and to reduce waste. All of the pieces except for the large circle and square patterns will need to be cut at an inward angle of about 45 degrees. The angled cuts will allow you to glue the pieces together at the correct angle, and you won't have to make the adjustments later. This also helps prevent seams and gaps in between glued pieces. The thin piece with 2 triangles on each end requires some bevel cutting to allow you to fold it to make the corners. To bevel, you will need to cut the underside of the foam where the dotted lines are and try not to cut all the way through the foam. Then you will need to cut on either side of that undercut at an angle to make space for the foam to bend. If this technique is too complicated or advanced, you can just cut off the triangles, cut the correct inward angles on the edges, and then glue the pieces back together. After cutting out all of your pieces, follow the instructions in the pattern to glue together the correct edges to create your companion cube. If you mess up the gluing, you can reheat the glue with the tip of the glue gun to melt it down, and you can separate the pieces to re-glue again. When cutting out the large square patterns, be sure to have 4 of the squares drawn out together so their edges are touching and it creates one big square. Then cut the outside edges of the large square at an inward angle like all of the other smaller pieces that you've already cut out. When you cut the inside lines, be sure your cuts are straight up and down and not at an angle. To create the base corner of the cube, glue together the angled shapes of the square pieces so the second angled edge is on the same side. The flat cuts of the squares should be on the outside of the corner when you glue it all together. When you finish the base corner of the cube, you can then attach it to the corner attachments that you've put together with the smaller pieces. To hold the base corners of the cube together with the small separation in between them, I used small pieces of scrap foam to hold them in place. The large circle pieces do not need any special cuts. You can cut them out with your blade straight up and down, and then glue them together to the base corners of the cube. When I made my companion cube, I decided to make it a container that I could open from the top, so I kept the top pieces separate from the main cube so I can slide the lid right on. Don't think that this is a requirement when making your cube. I'm just showing you an option of what you can do with your prop. And now it's painting time! Before you start painting it the colors you want, you will need to seal the foam so the material doesn't soak up all your paint. I use a latex house paint to seal the foam on all of my projects, and I'm usually good to go after 2 or 3 coats. Also be sure to keep an eye out for drips on the sealer coat. You'll want to avoid those as much as possible so it doesn't mess up your final paint job. To make sure that my entire cube was well coated with the sealer, I spray painted the whole thing with a flat gray spray paint. Using this flat gray color also made it so I had the base form of the cube painted, and all I had to paint next was the white portions of the cube. After the gray primer was dry, I taped off all the areas that I wanted to keep gray to protect it from the next paint layer I was going to spray on. Cover the entire cube with the tape before painting on the next layer. I had some overspray by just taping off that one section and not the whole thing. Adding the tape will take some time, so be patient and make sure all your edges are smooth and clean so you don't get any accidental overspray. Spray painting the white will take a few coats since we sprayed the cube with gray. This took about 3 coats before I was satisfied with the white layer. I am using a glossy white paint to give it specular instead of it being a flat coat. Also, be sure that you're wearing clothes that you are okay with getting paint on. I am a silly dum-dum and wore decent clothes while spray painting the cube. I didn't get a lot of paint on my nice shirt, but there was some specks of paint that ended up on my camera, so be sure you're working in an area that is okay for spray paint and to wear clothes that you don't care much for. And as the final added touch to the companion cube, I took a heart pattern shape online and printed it onto a sheet of paper. Then I cut out the heart shape and taped it to the circle on the companion cube and did a light spray of pink over the makeshift stencil. Hey guys! Thank you guys so much for watching my tutorial on how to make your very own portal companion cube. This was a really fun project. I was using a Pepakura file that I found online that wasn't unfolded, so if you guys don't know what Pepakura is, I'll leave a link for it in the description below. It's basically a 3D model program that you can print pieces onto paper, and then you can cut them out, and then you can either translate it onto foam, or you can build it as a paper model and do whatever you want with that. I modified the model to be a foam file, so that way you guys can print it directly as it is and not have to worry about numbers. Just follow the instructions that I'll leave on the template, and you guys can make the companion cube, this giant thing, of your own. And it's really big. I didn't really think it through about how big this thing is going to be, because I don't have the space for it. I was thinking, hey, it would be really nice to have for storage, but I don't have anywhere to put it. So it's been floating from room to room in my house, and I have to figure out where to put this thing. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be storing in this yet, so I'll figure it out. I didn't say this in the tutorial because I didn't think it was easy enough for some people. I do plan on putting my own LED lights into this. I was going to cut out the heart shapes and replace them with pink tinted acrylic, and then put some pink LEDs behind it so it lights up in the dark. That's not something I can teach because it's not really something I know how to do yet. I can talk to my friend Jeremy. He probably knows how to do that. He probably has the stuff for it right now. So I will be leaving all of the lists of materials that you will need, the Pepakura file that you will need. I'll leave a link for that. I'll put it on a domain that's safe for everybody to download, probably on like DeviantArt or something like that, and you guys will be able to open up the file and print it out. You can even rescale it, so if you don't want this thing to be as big as it is, this is a 2 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet model, and I scaled it to be that way. You guys can change the model to be smaller, so you can make a smaller companion cube. You can make one that goes on your desk, or you can make one bigger. I don't know how that would work very well if you made it bigger, but if you wanted to make a bigger companion cube, you can go ahead and do that. So I'll leave all that there. I'll even have the template for the heart stencil. I recommend using cardstock for the heart stencil because regular paper doesn't work very well when you're spraying paint on it over and over and over, and it starts to lift the edges. And I actually have a bunch of overspray around the hearts. It's not heavy, it's just awkward. There's a bunch of overspray along the edges, so I have to do some touch-up painting on this. But just for the sake of showing you guys how to do it, I didn't worry about doing the touch-up stuff in my video, but I will be doing that as well. If you guys have any other prop or costume ideas that you would like me to teach you how to do, or something I need to teach myself to do and then teach you guys how to do, go ahead and leave a suggestion in the comments below, and I will see if I can make something like that. I'm open to a lot of different things. Video games are more of my forte because I play video games more. I have friends who do like movie and TV show costumes, and they're awesome, but I'm more into the video game stuff, so if you have any video game ideas, that'd be awesome. And usually I would look for something that not very many people have done before, so that I can teach you guys how to do. And I only say that because I like to make something new and do something that is different compared to what everybody else has done. Like my Halo 4 Hunter, for example. People have done Halo Master Chief. Nobody's done a giant freaking hunter. So just, yeah, like I said, I digress. Give me suggestions for anything in the video game realm that you would like to see me build. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys liked it, please go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and share with your friends. Please give me any suggestions on what costumes and props you would like to see me build, and I will see if I can make something like that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. See ya!